This is Keisha Betts with CTV News. Bowie State University students are moving into their dorms today. We'll have all the details later tonight on CTV News. Good evening, I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. A press conference was held outside of a Baltimore postal facility this afternoon to draw attention to what some say are deliberate efforts to sabotage the U.S. postal system. Byron Scott has our story.
I'm Byron Scott. Federal and local lawmakers join union leaders in demanding an end to mail slowdowns involving the Postal Service. A press conference was held outside a post office processing and distribution center in Baltimore this afternoon. Officials say the Trump administration is taking deliberate action to slow down mail delivery as a means of hampering voting by mail this fall. Lawmakers have accused the Trump-appointed Postmaster General of dismantling sorting machines, cutting overtime, and staff reductions. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling the House back in session with a vote expected Saturday that would prohibit changes at the agency until after January 1st. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has declined to call the Senate back, saying the Postal Service is going to be fine. I'm Byron Scott.
The Maryland State Health Department reports 503 new COVID-19 cases today. The total number of confirmed cases in Maryland is now more than 100,000. Hospitalization numbers are down statewide over the last 24 hours. Officials say currently there are 435 people in the hospital with COVID-19. Meantime, 3,500 Marylanders have succumbed to the virus. Well, all eyes will be on Milwaukee, Wisconsin when the Democratic National Convention opens tonight. The theme of tonight's program is We the People. Speakers at the virtual convention include Senator Bernie Sanders, former First Lady Michelle Obama, and John Kasich, the Republican former governor of Ohio. The chairwoman of the Prince George's Democratic Central Committee, Cheryl Landis, will be watching. She says the convention was the topic of this morning's state Democratic Party virtual breakfast.
I expect that the Democratic Party will rise like a phoenix out of the ashes. And I believe that we will soar. I'm going to do everything in my power to work with my colleagues on the Prince George's County Democratic Central Committee. I know that the local central committees throughout the state of Maryland, they too are committed. And, you know, the work that we together, I am confident that it will ensure success at the polls on November 3rd.
And that convention kicks off tonight at 9. Well, a missing young Democrat leader is found dead in the district after friends, family, and politicians pleaded for information on his disappearance. 34-year-old Joseph Kitchen's body was discovered on Sunday, just one day after a search was initiated. It's unclear how he died. He was last seen in person at Sandy Point State Park on August 8th and at a Zoom meeting with colleagues the following day. Kitchen was president of the Young Democrats of Maryland, as well as the director of community outreach at the Washington School for the Girls in Southeast D.C. Virtual committee hearings get the green light from Maryland Attorney General Brian Frosh, saying there is little to fear that they would violate the state's constitution. But final action on bills or overriding a gubernatorial veto while meeting online or outside of the city of Annapolis could be tougher to defend in a legal challenge. Frosh's office rendered an opinion to the General Assembly's counsel following review of the state's constitutional requirements and the legislature's rules. It comes on the heels of more than 80 organizations calling for a special session to address a host of issues during the pandemic. Well, as we reported last week, the 100th anniversary of the women's suffrage movement takes place this month. During the centennial, I'll have a series of reports on upcoming events, as well as notable women who made history during that era. Our first vignette is about Alice Paul and her contribution that helped women gain the right to vote.
Alice Paul came at the very end of the suffrage movement, and she was the originator of the National Woman's Party, which was one of the two main suffrage organizations that advocated for the federal amendment, the 19th Amendment. Alice Paul is best known for her organization that led to the very first protests and pickets in front of the White House, which took place on January 10th, 1917. Alice Paul was a brilliant strategist, and she realized she needed to draw more public attention and more media attention to the cause of women's suffrage. So that's why she came up with the idea of protests and pickets in the White House, and they lasted for 2 years until the amendment passed both houses of Congress.
And we'll have much more on the women's suffrage centennial over the next 2 weeks. Well, college students are moving into their dorms across the nation, including right here in Prince George's. Keisha Butts visited Bowie State University and spoke with incoming freshmen this morning.
I'm at Bowie State University, where 400 freshmen are moving into their dorms all this week. We spoke with students who say they are excited to start the next chapters of their lives.
I couldn't wait for this moment. I really thought it wasn't going to come because of the coronavirus, but I'm just excited to be here.
Like many students this morning, DAIZAE TAFT is moving into her dorm.
I'm going to be studying social work. I want to be a foster care social worker, just help out young kids.
Attending Bowie State University is a family legacy. Taft's mother and aunt, who also studies social work, attended college here.
It means a lot. I value the fact that she wanted to come to school for social work, let alone come to Bowie, but to come for social work. They have a phenomenal social work program, so I'm really excited for her.
While parents and students drop off suitcases and carry crates, incoming freshman ANTOINE PAYNE talked about studying cybersecurity.
And I'm excited to be here. My dad has repeatedly told me it's a new experience. It's different from high school. You get to meet a whole bunch of people, make friends, communicate. And that's basically how you're going to progress through life. Regarding
COVID-19, PAYNE says he's not concerned.
I've heard about the things that it can do to your system, but as far for me, I'm not really intimidated by it.
PAYNE's father agrees.
A little nervous, but all in all, like I said, some things we can't control. But my thing is, we can't let it stop us from living.
BSU spokesperson DAMITA Chambers says this year's move-in is different.
We are starting every freshman who's coming to the campus. Anybody who's moving into a dorm is going to have to go through testing. So we're starting out with a COVID-19 testing station, and then we're having them check in to their actual dorms.
There are also other safety precautions.
We're trying to make sure that we can encourage social distancing even within the dorms. So for rooms that are designated as double rooms, they are all going to be single rooms this year.
While TAFT says the university has done a good job so far, she's worried she'll have to go back home.
I am actually kind of nervous about that because I'm nervous that they will shut back down, but I'm just excited to be here.
Bowie State University says that freshmen will be moving in all this week. Next week, the upperclassmen will move in. In total, an estimated 700 students will be in dorms this fall. This is Keisha Butts with CTV News.
And next week, freshmen will start new student orientation. Well, to the NFL, the Washington football team makes a history-making announcement today. Katira Jones is standing by with the story.
The home team hires Jason Wright as the new team president. Wright, a former NFL running back, is the first black team president in the history of the NFL. As the president, Wright will handle team operations, finance, sales, and marketing. Wright will join the organization as it looks to start fresh with a new team name. The Washington football team has also been embroiled in sexual misconduct allegations, which led to majority owner Dan Snyder to commission an independent review.
I think what I've seen from Dan and Tanya Snyder in the hiring of Coach Rivera and some of the decisions they've made to have an independent investigator brought in around the sexual harassment allegations, there are actual shifts in action that suggest it's a new day. And that's why I'm excited to take this on. And Coach Rivera's talked a lot about this on the football side, establishing a new culture, a new way of operating rooted in values around inclusion and transparency. That's exactly what we're going to do on the business side.
Meantime, Wright will be the youngest team president in the league. After playing 7 seasons in the NFL, Wright received his MBA from the University of Chicago. Reporting in Bowie, Katira Jones, CTV News.